I supported Elizabeth through her grief, and she agreed to join me against Richard. She was convinced that he was behind the fate of her boys. The price for her support? Betrothal of her daughter Elizabeth to my Henry. We both knew that despite their individual strong claims to the English crown, together it would be undisputed. This union had much merit, the solution that would galvanise the country and put Henry on the throne. We plotted together with her nephew, Henry Stafford, the second Duke of Buckingham. And whilst it was not lost on me that he too had viewed the throne with envious eyes, that was for a future battle. For now, it was vital that the rebellion hold fast. Henry set sail from Brittany to join forces with Buckingham. Alas, arriving too late, the rebellion was already crushed. Buckingham executed, and my Henry forced back into exile. It wasn't long before my involvement was exposed. Richard stripped me of title and chattel, declaring me guilty, for as much as Margaret, Countess of Richmond, mother of the King's great rebel and traitor, Henry, Earl of Richmond, hath of late conspired, considered, and committed high treason against our sovereign lord, King Richard III, in divers and sundry ways, and in especially sending messages, writings, and tokens to the said Henry. Also the said Countess made severances of great sums of money, and also the said Countess conspired, considered, and imagined the destruction of our said sovereign lord. I could not deny any such charges. I had a mission to accomplish. Some considered me fortunate escaping with my life, and I was of a mind to agree. My property was handed to my husband, Lord Stanley, who was now to become my jailer. The vain hope that he would prevent my contact with Henry was naive at best on Richard's part. My husband was shrewd and kept a foot in both camps. Ridiculed, shamed, mayhap powerless, it was of no matter. Whilst I had breath in my body, I would continue my fight to achieve the goal. There would be no price too high to deliver Henry to his destiny. 1485 was to prove the turning point. My husband had feigned his loyalty to Richard during the Buckingham Rebellion, and when called upon to wear the Pretender's colours at the Battle of Bosworth Field, he held his powder dry. That his own son was held hostage by Richard perhaps illustrates his true colours. He watched, he waited until the time was right. His actions were decisive and turned the tide of English history. He alone had earned the right of placing the English crown where it truly belonged, on the head of his stepson. Finally, my son was king. Thus was founded the great Tudor dynasty. The marriage Elizabeth and I had arranged between our children, King Henry VII and Elizabeth of York, was hugely popular. The union of the White Rose of York and the Red Rose of Lancaster was seen as bringing peace after years of dynastic war. Finally, I was in a position of real power and was to do much good. I would endow the building of chapels, the restoration of churches, the procurement and the advancement of new ways of the written word, printing by Mr. Caxton and Winkin de Word. I would build free schools and universities. I endowed a lectureship in divinity at the University of Oxford, the first incumbent being John Roper. And I would surprise you with my practical side. My properties in the Fens faced flooding, and I initiated a solution. And I oversaw the ambitious drainage scheme, employing the very best engineers in Europe. The result? A large sluice constructed at Boston. Though all these notable and to be applauded acts faded into insignificance when compared with my greatest achievement. I had delivered my son to his destiny. My many trials and achievements were rewarded by him. My husband became Earl of Derby, and I invested Countess of Richmond and Derby. Later, I became Lady Companion, Order of the Garter. Yet, I preferred to be addressed as simply My Lady, the King's Mother. Oh, and the attainder against me, reversed of course. I became a Femme Soleil. Now this is a title usually only granted for queens. And very importantly, I was granted legal and social independence from men, given the rights of a man, a status denied to my contemporaries. At this time, I also fancied to amend my signature, it being of such a minor change to be of little consequence to any. It was simply from M. Richmond to Margaret R.